Hold on tight for the next hour. You're entering into a place, a zone called the alternative to the alternative media. It's a place, a special place where even truth seekers fear to tread.
All right, people, let's move like we've got a purpose.
Affirmative.
Okay, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, people of all races, colors, and creeds, and that means you. Even if you're told you have the coronavirus, we all have it. Don't worry about it. All 25 trillion people in the world have it, so go outside, have fun, play, go back to work, heck with the government, and don't play the Hegelian dialectic. I'll explain that later, but there is a game you can play. It's called the Illuminati Card Game, and I'll get to that later, too. Greg Anthony here on the greatest show on earth. We're the greatest show on earth because it's better than getting hit by a 300-pound pig, falling from a rooftop, and then getting... The coroner says you died from the coronavirus. Hey, it's better than having dinner with Dr. Dracula Anthony Fauci when he looks at you and says, I don't care if you have the coronavirus. I want your blood. And then Trump looks over looking like Frankenstein and he goes, shut up, Fauci. We need some people to go back to work. Hey, listen, I've got to get to the truth here. Well, it's better. It's really better than going into a Target yesterday. I go in there the other day before I was kidnapped, and I'll get to that. You know, if you follow my show, what happened. But I went to Target, and I wanted to buy some underwear. Guess what they said? It's not an essential item. I said, how about pajamas? No. Oh, okay. How about socks? No. How about a computer? Oh, yes. I said, well, what the heck good is a computer? Everything is being censored. Folks, yesterday, they give me a computer 1 hour a day to do my show because I'm in this hotel being kidnapped by the COVID virus police, if you understand my story. I'm going to get into that. And I had a chance to write one. They're forcing me to write these stories to get you frightened, so that nobody else writes these anymore because they don't like it. Well, anyway, let me tell you what happened. So they give me the computer an hour, and then I start trying to send some things. And I get these blockades from Yahoo saying, according to the COVID virus scare, this does not meet our standards. I said, what standards? I'm thinking about this. And what I was trying to send was doctors who were saying this is fake. I mean, I was using doctor terms and everything. And they said something like, well, this is a national threat. Okay, so there we go, folks. You know, in Bangladesh, they're shutting the computer down. Well, there's going to be no people in Bangladesh because they're all dying of starvation because, you know, the government is saying you can't go out and work. Same going on in Guatemala. I mean, this is ridiculous. We all know it's ridiculous, but, you know, there's still a lot of Americans. And let me tell you, thank you, Gustavo. Gustavo's my bodyguard here at the hotel. I better tell you where I'm at. Well, I'm outside of Wichita. This is the third day? Yeah, I forget. I had my prison wall back at home in Mexico where I was writing down the days, you know, how you mark it on the wall because we've been locked up for God knows how long now. And so now they moved me. And I was abducted, not at gunpoint. They put a mask over bag over my head, put me in a car, interrogated me, gave me a box, said, take this to Slats Grobnik, who's, you know, the guy who's leading the Second American Revolution, if you're following my articles. And Slats is in the replica Roman Colosseum over in Kansas, in a Kansas cornfield. I've never been there, but I'm going to see him shortly, as soon as they let me out of here. And I'm to give him this box with a message inside. And I said, what's the secret? Is it a bomb? They said, no. We want him, you know, we're putting the clamps on him right away. We're giving our orders to him. Okay. And, I think they want to take that thing over. You know, he built it. This is what they do. You build something, then they take your property, and they want to use the Colosseum to make us gladiators again. Well, Slats, he wants to use it to put the elites in there. Remember his idea years ago? He wanted, like, Clinton to fight Bush. Wouldn't it be interesting? He promised to give them free lessons on how to ride a chariot and how to use a sword and etc. And then he was going to charge $10 a head to basically fill up a 100,000-seat Colosseum he's built there with the help of some nice farmers who have nothing to do anymore. They're putting the finishing touches on it because they're told not to. Right now, during this epidemic, fake epidemic, the farmers are told, let your crops rot, and all the milk, the dairy farmers are told to dump their milk. I went out the other day. That's why when I was flying on that private jet, that cartel jet that brought me here, I looked down and the rivers were all white. I'm going, oh, it must be the milk that they're throwing out. Well, anyway, the fish aren't going to like that. But they don't care about the environment. They never have. Look at chemtrails. We're worried about dying from this fake virus. And they've been spraying chemtrails since the 90s, trying to kill us with all these metals in the air. And you're worried about going out because you're going to catch a cold. And this show is the greatest show on earth because it's better than walking outside and having some woman, especially in Mexico, a gringo in Mexico, tell me, she's walking down the street, stay 6 feet away and don't breathe. Okay, listen, I'm a reasonable person. I will negotiate anything. But, okay, the 6-foot rule, I'll live with it, lady. You're not so pretty anyway. I don't want to get near you anyway, COVID virus or not. I just don't like to be told what to do. But this not breathing thing, how am I supposed to get through the day? Don't breathe? Greg was told not to breathe. He was found dead on a Mexican road. It was the COVID virus because he couldn't breathe. This thing's going on and on and on. People on the internet, they have started something, hashtag lockdown. And I went to that, and everybody's complaining. But nobody's, let's just go outside. Look at me. They got me in this hotel. And I'll tell you some of the things that happened, but they're giving me, you're probably wondering, why are they letting him do this? Well, the reason is they've chosen me to kind of negotiate this thing to get all of you people who are not following their orders to basically realize that you're going to be interrogated, you're going to be put in a hotel like this, maybe locked away for life, and they're trying to scare you. But don't be scared. Even if it's my demise, I want you to go on. Because I really care about the future of America. Gustavo, he's my bodyguard. He's laughing because I had a big chat with him last night. These cartel guys, I was accosted by 3 of them. They put me in this car. Then they said, we're taking you to Grobnik over in Kansas, and they were pretty nice on the airplane. They gave me this hotel room, but then I'm now locked here. I thought I'd be here one night, but they said I'm waiting for the big boss. He's got a message that he wants to personally give to me. So I've now declared myself the negotiator for all freedom-fighting, loving journalists out there. And you know something? Maybe I can negotiate a deal, like Trump says. He thinks he's the best negotiator. Well, you've met your match, Donald. You met your match. Just try to negotiate with me, See how far you get with all that garbage you're telling people. I know you. I know the truth. He knows I know the truth, so I've got a little leeway. See, Donald Trump acts like he's, MAGA man. He's really looking out for your interests. Well, let me tell you something. He's playing a part, a game. He's an actor. He was chosen to be president years ago. That's what this Illuminati Card Game said. I've got it right here, and I'll explain that later. But then again, nobody believes that. And there's still people out there taking sides. There's globalists, and there's the MAGA people. Listen, they're playing a game with you. This is all scripted, and I know for sure because I am I work with Inside Georgetown. That's like Inside Hollywood. And if you don't know what it is, let me explain. Georgetown University was the first Jesuit school here. the first university. It's right next to the White House. And they've been running foreign and domestic policy for our country for years. People don't know it because they are the great infiltrators. But not only that, they're the great movie makers, reality show makers. They've done this. They've done a splendid job. And in fact, I'm giving it 5 stars for their deceit, for their ability to propagandize the whole world. I mean, you know something? This is bigger than The Godfather. That was based some kind of reality. This one's based on no reality, but people believe it. People are listening to me and go, yeah, sure, Greg, there's a Roman Colosseum. You don't believe me? Go out there. You're in a hotel. You don't believe me? Come and visit. You don't believe me? I'm going to write it. I'll read my article. You don't believe I was on that jet? No, you're just jealous because you can't fly, and I did. I flew with the elites. They're all out in their private jets. They're going to their private clubs. Don't tell me they don't have a speakeasy open somewhere. They can't live without people being around them, adoring everything they wear. Oh, you have such a beautiful dress on tonight. You look so You know something? You look like you're 30 again and you're 90 years old. The actress is saying, I know, it's my 10th facelift, and I can't see my doctor for a while because of this dreaded virus. Oh, sorry. I did a whole show on the psychological effects on people, and people I felt most sorry for were the actors and actresses, the real ones that are suffering, not us. We're used to a simple life. This really hasn't changed me much. I mean, I like people for a short period of time, maybe 1 or 2 minutes. And then there's people I really like who really talk about good things. But most people, they talk BS, just like Trump and the rest of them. So let me explain real quickly here. Get serious. Greg, please get serious. You only have an hour in this. I better explain. I'm in a nice room. They bring my food. I can talk to Gustavo. He's one of my bodyguards. Nice man, really. Once you get to know these cartel guys, they're pretty nice. And I wrote a story. I included them in my story. I'm sure in the second half hour you'll want to listen because I have to read it. They're forcing me. Isn't this interesting? They're forcing me to write a story that is opposed to them. And I asked them, I said, are you doing this thing, like you do in the old days? Like you used to get a guy to write anti-Jesuit stuff, and actually he was a Jesuit. Then you guys would argue, and in fact it wasn't. Oh, I know what you're doing. You're using me as controlled opposition. Okay, I want to get paid more. I'm going to talk to that COVID boss when he comes. Yes, I'm going to talk to him. Oh, yeah, so I was going to tell you regarding Trump and how they really operate. So Trump and all his boys take the side of you, the patriots, the Americans, and then the other side is fighting. And they're doing it right now, but they always agree on the same principles here. The fake virus, they all agree on. It's just another indication that they work together. And how they do it is they put these two ideas together. They fight like dogs and cats. And I don't even want to use dogs and cats. That's too good of an analogy for these people. They fight like the satanic idiots they are. And they want us to believe it. And most people do. And then they get their synthesis. So Trump, who was actually selected president, according to many esteemed sources, The Simpsons, you can go back 10 years and watch, they had him coming down the elevator exactly the way he did when he announced his presidency. And then, this Illuminati card game they gave me that I played last night is quite interesting. And I'll get to that. But anyway, so don't fall for it. They're all actors. And when I say inside Georgetown, it's like inside Hollywood. It's better. And there's a tunnel between Georgetown University and the White House where they do their daily script reading. They have to practice. And then they also get their lines. And they also have a job available. Do you want to run lines? You know what that is? Yeah, they need 10 people because they're stepping this up to run lines with the top guys. Fauci, that lady who's up there wears the lousy clothes, and then Pence and Trump and others. People are getting tired of that job. And what it is you hold a script, and when they forget a line, you got to read it to them so they remember it. And I'm going, why? They give them the script. They got to, they can take the paper there and read. Well, they want them to look more real. So script readers are needed. They also need crisis actors. I was down, we bugged this thing. They don't believe me because they can't figure out how we did it, but we did bug that tunnel, and they'll never figure it out. Our high-tech stuff is quite interesting, how we found out how to do this. And I'll explain. We went into some German technology that NASA used and is still using, and NSA used. And so we bugged this, and we see that director Luigi Franconi, who's the Jesuit director of this great sitcom that's going on and on. It's never ending. Every day I wake up, it's the same thing. But they're changing it. They're making it more dangerous, more fearful. We've got every American in the world frightened of germs. They did their job. That was the key to this. Behind the scene, they worked on this screenplay for a long time, and their idea was to ramp up this fear of germs. So every American was afraid to even breathe. And then they could do everything. And then, for example, the whole world stopped. ISIS is afraid to go out. All the criminals, well, except for the essential criminals. You see, there's a category here. Essential criminal means drug pushers, people that are, guys who do heavy-duty assassinations when needed, and basically those jobs, those criminals that can really, take over $1 million or more, okay, and steal it from people's bank accounts and stuff. So they've limited the criminals, but you can't trust them. There's no honor amongst thieves. So the thieves are allowed to go out. The innocent people are in. Prisoners are being released, and innocent people during this are threatened with jail. It doesn't make sense. Everything is backwards. For example, people who are extroverted, right now, they have to stay in, right? They're usually out playing around, having a ball. And then there's people who are basically agoraphobics, and people who are afraid to get on elevators, claustrophobic. They're out. I was talking to somebody who suffered from claustrophobia the other day, and they said they have violated every law because it's the first time they can get on an elevator and go up and down and enjoy it. First time they can go into a restaurant and be told, take out, but there's nobody there, and they ask, can I just sit for 5 minutes? Because I don't like people. So we got the claustrophobics, the agoraphobics, people who are afraid to go outside during normal times are outside. They're the ones out there, and it's really put a damper on my life. You're probably wondering why. Greg, all you do is talk on the radio. You can sit in your own little room. You never meet anybody. You don't even want to, people laugh at you, but you don't even hear it. I mean, what's your problem? And I said, well, no, you don't know what I usually do. See, I'm one of these people that enjoys going out and watching people. I miss watching people. I mean, the other day I went outside and I looked, and there was nobody in the park I could look at. I enjoy it. In fact, I've taken an opportunity now to go out into the wilderness. I decided that, there's other animals out there that are more interesting. I didn't realize that. So there is a benefit. But the real thing is I'm a people watcher. I love watching this world go to hell in a handbasket. You may say, Greg, that's sick. But I'm no different than you. Every time before this thing happened, and you could drive a car without getting stopped by a policeman, especially in Michigan, I hear, and told, go home, it's not essential. Didn't you slow down when there was a car accident and you saw a severed head on the road? Yes. And aren't you really one of those people that watches TV and you hear a weather report, there's a huge tidal wave hurricane coming, And then they say, it's in Bangladesh. And you go, oh, who cares? You know. So, different than me. But I enjoyed watching people. Now there's nobody. I'm lonely. I don't talk to them. I just observe. And I'm observing now this craziness going on. This fear of germs. I went over why. Don't worry about it. I can go out in anything. When I was young, I call them my boys inside, and I got really hammered for that by the talk and the word police who said, you can't use that. It has to be a gender-neutral germ fighter in your system. And I said, well, they're my boys, and they've been built up to fight. Because when I was a young boy, I lived on a dairy farm, 250 acres, my dad's dairy farm. And I fell into a manure spreader while I was chasing some birds up in a hayloft. And I mean headlong into it, like diving into a manure pool. And ever since then, my immune system has been strong. My boys have been strong. And what happens, though, folks, if you guys sit at home too long, they get tired. They don't do anything. They get weak. And so when these criminal germs come, they can't fight them off, and you get sick. So it's better to go out. You got to fight away all these things. Take a dip in the Hudson River. See if you can, dive in the Hudson River. You're not going to die if your immune system is strong like mine. I can swim in any river, any polluted river in the United States. I can go in, and I'm still walking. But you know what? Everybody in the country is like, can't go outside. I may get sick. That's the problem, this fear thing. And that's what I'm getting at. This is what they worked on their script for this COVID virus segment of their reality show. That's actually been going on for a couple of 100 years here in different forms in one way or another. First theatrical, now they're on the big screen, as well as TV. So their idea was to instill as much fear as possible. That was behind the screenplay idea. And so then from then, it's just a matter of lighting, the right camera work, the right TV guys covering this, everything. It's a beautiful reality game. And we are, like I've always mentioned, the extras playing our part. And we don't even get paid. Not even paid one dime. Oh, wait, they're giving us $1,200, right? $1,200. For what? For how long have you lived? Times that by 100 and then ask them for that if they're not letting you go to work. And what is the real reason behind this? I think the real reason is they want to crash the economy. Oh, Greg, where did you hear that? People have been talking about that since the cows have come home, since I've been around. But this one looks good. I mean, I don't see how this recovers, how this economy recovers like Trump says. Everybody on the Trump side is going, don't worry. Even if we have to stay home for 18 months, he'll do it. He's the financial crusader. Look, he's playing a part. Please go to all the websites that talk about the finances. But just from a personal point of view, I can't see how anybody can benefit from shutting the world down. It's just my way of thinking, I mean, today, try to go somewhere. I mean, take a flight. Have a nice day in Florida. You can't go anywhere. I mean, you can't even go to a baseball game, which gets me to Slats Grobnik. This is what really his battle cry is. Give me baseball or give me death. And he sent out millions of emails, 160 million texts and emails the other day, recruiting for his Patriot Army, his call to arms. But what's behind this revolution? Is it a revolution, fighting with weapons? What is it? I've asked. I haven't been able to get an answer from him. I'm looking forward to that as you are. And in the second half hour, I'll read something I had to write for you. Yes, by the COVID virus police made me write this. And where have my rights gone? I have none now in this new world. Back in 3 minutes on the Investigatore Giornale.
The book of Revelation says, The spirit of prophecy is the testimony of Jesus Christ. This is at the very heart of FirstAmendmentRadio.com. In that spirit, we have created the Prophecy Reality News app for all of your mobile devices, streaming First Amendment Radio 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Available for your Apple, Android device, and smartphone, absolutely free. Get the Prophecy Reality News app installed today, so you can listen to First Amendment Radio wherever you are. The Prophecy Reality News app. Get it now.
Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org. When it comes to prophecy today, much of the evangelical Christian world has their eyes on Israel, waiting and watching to see when the third temple will begin to be built. The plans are drawn, the Jewish people are eager. Most evangelical Christians today believe that the rapture will happen before the third temple is built. Hi, I'm Michael Eugene. I was taught that Daniel's 70th week was in the future. Is that really what the Bible teaches? Have we searched the scriptures and found this to be true? Why is it so important for a re-established Israel to build a third temple in Jerusalem? Is it necessary to build a temple on the same location already occupied by the Dome of the Rock? Is it necessary for sacrifices to take place in the temple on Temple Mount? Is there really a rapture followed by 7 years of tribulation? What is the New Testament temple? Can we identify history and prophecy? Who is the first beast in Revelation chapter 13? Who are the 7 kings in Revelation 17? I have asked all these questions, and I have found Nicholas Arthur's new book, When the Third Temple is Built, answers all these questions and more using Scripture to interpret Scripture. The Bible says that no prophecy of Scripture is of any private interpretation. Nicholas shows us in his new book, When the Third Temple is Built, how the Bible interprets prophecy and not man's private interpretation. Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org.
The following program is labeled dangerous and off limits by the supreme Jesuit command. But stand tall, people. Listen up, and you may just learn something.
Oh, dear Lord Jesus, this ain't happening, man. This can't be happening, man. This ain't happening.
Okay, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, back for the second half hour of the greatest show on earth. We're the greatest show on earth because, you know something? We stick to at least something that's probable here. Not like what's going on in this reality show called the COVID virus. You know, I call it the Covert-19 pandemic. And that's being nice. These people have really, let's just look at this thing from the top to the bottom. If you believe a word they say, you're in trouble. And you know what? Everybody is so serious. Serious, everybody. I turn on the CNN or Fox channel for 10 seconds now. I can't take it any longer, but they're very serious. Everything is serious. Then you go to the internet, and all of the people that disagree with them, most of them, are serious. They're giving us these doom and death predictions. Well, I don't care. They've been, this has been going just to settle your nerves, because people come here because they want to laugh a little bit. Yeah. I mean, I'm not the only comedian out there, but you know what? There's a number of good ones. I've been listening to a few, and I'll tell you something. I'm having a ball with this because, tragedy plus time equals comedy, and I've always been adhered to that rule. And people said, well, how come you're making fun of this? It isn't even over. I said, it's never going to be over. This thing is going to go on forever. They say this one may be 18 months. How long can the economy survive? Well, if you're like me, who cares? I've been poor my whole life. Now you know how it feels. Now, get even with you, huh? I told you so. You want to be poor? Just let these jerks stay in power long enough. And let the Jesuits run rampant over your religion, over everything, but don't care. don't say a word. It's not politically correct. Back to this stuff about words. Some of them drive me crazy. The one I've been thinking about lately, I tried to buy a hot water heater at Home Depot. They told me it's not essential. I said, I like warm showers. But then I started thinking, it's not a hot water. If I needed a hot water heater, why would I need one if it's hot? The water's hot. So I said, maybe I should call it a cold water heater. That just gives you an idea what's going on. They're changing everything. You can't say he, you can't say she. They're telling our children they can be a boy one day, a girl the next. So this whole idea of putting people in their homes is designed to kill you. It's that simple. I don't see any other reason for it, because I know as well as you do, I can't stay in my house with a whole bunch of people for very long before I start going nuts. And there's a lot of people like that. Well, I call people and they say, oh, we're getting to know our family, and I really don't like them. Get me to work. I need to go there. Okay. But the house, really, it's nothing but a cover for all of our stuff. We're learning how much we really have and what we can get rid of. I was walking down the street before I got stuck in this hotel by the cartel, the CIA, the Jesuits, the COVID virus police. They don't like dissidents anymore. And pretty soon they're going to shut down the internet, and we're all going to go through withdrawal symptoms. We're all going to be internet junkies going, give me 1 minute on that. I can't survive without my phone. Well, do me a favor. Why don't we spend a day where we just all throw the phones in the water? Oh, God, the world would go up in arms. But you know what? They'll kill you with 5G when that happens. And if you don't believe me, please do go to my website at Greg Anthony's Journal. Can I say that, Gustavo? He's my bodyguard. He's going, yeah, go ahead. Say what you want. I'm told to talk now. This is weird. I hope this ends. Well, it's Friday. I'm supposed to meet the COVID virus boss today to get my orders. And then the weekend's here, so I should be back in Mexico Monday, hopefully. And people go, why Mexico? I am not staying in America one day longer. I'll tell you this. I'll come back when things are normal back in 2090. But do you think they're going to make this a great economy again? It's going to be more controlled than ever. This was a test. This is what I learned. I was listening to their inside stories down in that tunnel in Georgetown. This is a test, and it worked. You see, you're wondering, how could the whole world do this? Did you ever hear of the term one world government? They got their boys at every major country. Look, the Jesuits, they were in China in the 1600s. They were in America. They were all over the place. And, they've grown up. They're more sophisticated. But they're used as infiltrators, spies. And the greatest cover in the world, I've said it a long time ago, is being a priest, hiding behind the cloth of God, hiding behind this, taking your confession. And I said, listen, they came to me a long time ago and said, you know what? Why don't you be a Jesuit? You know more about us than we do. You can get right to the fourth vow, right to the top quick. I said, no, thank you. I wanted to be a priest when I was 10, when you were, propagandizing me as a child. I went through all that Catholic stuff. I do not put the ashes on my forehead anymore. I will not do that. How can you believe the stuff they made me do when I was a kid? And they want me to be a priest. But you know what? If you don't believe it, I think it's a great opportunity. Once this thing settles down, there's going to be a lot of people looking for work, I think. I don't know about you. They're saying unemployment rates are going to be worse than the Great Depression if the economy doesn't get going. They said by May. It's already May. And these economists, they did a computer thing. This guy from this big corporation sent a letter to Trump. And he said, if we keep the world economy shut down for another month, we're never going to recover for at least 20 years. And it's going to be worse than the Great Depression. But everybody's going, oh, Donald will solve it. Donald is an actor. He was an actor on The Apprentice. That's why they picked him. That's what the Illuminati Card Game says. And I've been playing it all evening. They gave me one to pass the time away. here, and they're pointing to their clock. They say, make sure you get that story read that you're supposed to, or we're going to cut your fingers off. I said, okay, I'll do it. But let me just finish with this thought. So really, the one world thing is happening. They can do it. Otherwise, India would say, screw you guys, Or Australia would say, look at those dumb Americans. They're afraid to go outside. Or England would say something like, you see what happened to them? They should have stayed with us. Nobody. Everybody's in lockstep on this. The Democrats, the Republicans, Australia, England. You can't go anywhere, New Zealand. And it gets worse in Denmark. And all of these countries seem to. So when I say that at the top levels they all work together, don't you believe me now? Oh, yes. There's even conservative people who wanted me hung in Central Park after 9/11 who are coming to my show or calling me or emailing me saying, can you tell us now what you said years ago? I'm going to say it pretty simple. We are responsible for this because we've let our guard down. Our ancestors told us about this, and we just didn't listen because we were placated by all the stuff they give us. Yeah, they just give us stuff, and now but you've been at home in a while. The home is a house, a cover. It's like a big box that you cover yourself and you have all your stuff. So just look around. Now that you can't buy stuff, maybe you'll think about this. So anyway, I better get to this article before I get in trouble, because I have to read it. It is General Slats Grobnik's Second American Revolution, Part 3. COVID-19 Kansas Hotel Blues. Illuminati Card Game predicts this lockdown and pandemic. In 1982, where were you in 1982? I can tell you where I was. I know where I was. At one point in 1982, I was walking into my newspaper in Rome, Italy. I was an editor of the American newspaper, and I almost got blown up from a terrorist bomb. Yeah, you can go and get the story. UPI still has it on the web if you don't believe me. You can just Google Rome bombing American newspaper, put in 1981 or 2, and you'll see my name down there. I go by my real name, Szymanski. The reason I don't use it, it's my middle name I use, is that I want to be fair to these comedians out there. Because, if I give my last name, people just start laughing. They've done this ever since I was a kid. They read your name in school, and I go, Szymanski, and everybody starts laughing. I go, wow, I got a natural knack at making people laugh, just by being Polish. And as the years went on, and they laughed more and more and more, telling me I didn't know how to screw a light bulb on, telling me, all the Polish jokes you heard for all those years were very popular when I was growing up, led me to believe, when I started my comic career, that I wanted to have a fair playing field with these other guys. I didn't want to just walk out there and say, hi, my name's Greg Szymanski, and then everybody burst out laughing. And I said, this is too easy. So I made it hard on myself. I use Anthony. Gregory Anthony. Now, I have to work for my laughs. What do you think about that? And, people do come here for this. And if you go through my shows throughout the years, I've always tried to mix a little bit of humor, lightheadedness, doing it, in a sober way. Although there were days that when I was in my youth that I used to put it this way. Have you ever heard of a guy named Bill Hendry? Yes, Bill Hendry. He was a guy that had a talk show in L.A. I used to like him. Very talented guy. And he every year did a show called Get Drunk with Bill Hendry. And what he did was he showed how ridiculous you become when you drink. And it was a great idea. He put a bottle of vodka on his table, and he said, now I'm sober, and within the next hour, you will hear that he will get drunk. And he did. And if you listen to the show, it was amazing because it made you not ever want to drink again. So when I listened to that, I stopped drinking. Yeah, don't have one, journalists drink. That's the hazard of life. I grew up as one, and they always meet in bars, And so once I listened to Bill Hendry make a fool of himself on the air, I decided no more drinking for Greg. Okay, so I make everything a little bit lightheaded, clear, with a little bit of humor because, these are serious times and you can't get through them unless you can either laugh at it or laugh at yourself. And maybe through that we can really see the nonsense, that's going on. And if you still believe this is real, it's your own fears. Because let me tell you something. Fear, I'm going to be serious here, then read my story. I got 12 minutes. This is the whole fabric of this fake, flu. And I've given you statistics to back that up. You can believe them or not. But really, where does the fear come from? It comes from not understanding your pleasure. America is built on pleasure. Pleasure from things. Pleasure from this. And when you take away those things, fear comes in, and you're seeing it on display in America. So think about that. I'm not telling you not to enjoy pleasure. The pleasure should be enjoyed, but what is it? Do you understand really what it is? And that is important. Whew! You thought I was just a dumb comedian, huh? Take that. Somebody's going, he went to a Buddhist school for a while. Don't worry about it. He'll be okay. He's living in the West. Don't start talking like you're living in the East, like the Maharishi. Okay, I won't. But anyway, here we go. So I said COVID virus blues. I'm in this hotel, in this private jet flight to Kansas on TJ Airlines. TJ Cartel Airlines came with a free meal, bottle of red wine, and a private showing of episode 1 of the new Netflix series, Jesuit Narcos. My tattooed bodyguards, acting as flight attendants, gave me something to pass the time away. It was that controversial Illuminati card game, which supposedly told the inner secrets of the very organization that I, Greg Anthony Szymanski, had been writing about for the better part of 3 decades. Now, you know who we work for, gringo? Recalling what one of the 3 rather large tattooed gentlemen laughingly said on the plane ride. And as a reminder, I was taken into custody against my will, interrogated in a Mexican warehouse, put on a cartel jet, I can fly, and now relaxing in a hotel room somewhere outside of Wichita, Kansas. Have you ever been to Wichita? This is my first time, and I haven't seen much. All this for disagreeing with the government line on the COVID virus worldwide shutdown, and just writing a couple stories about General Slats Grobnik's quest for a second American Revolution. I'm adding this. It's not in the article, but I might have hit a nerve somewhere here without knowing. But this is my second night in the hotel room, waiting for a chat with the big cheese COVID boss. At least that is what I was led to believe. I'm then supposed to take a small locked box carrying a message. I have it on the table here. Inside, and instructed to take it pronto to General Grobnik at his headquarters at the replica Colosseum he built in that infamous Kansas cornfield, i.e. the reason I'm in Kansas. Okay. Looking at the box over on the table by the bed, I heard no ticking and was assured by my abductors it was not a time bomb, so I rested a little easier with a lot of time on my hands. No phone. No cell phone. They give me a computer only an hour a day. How did I live? My God, how did people survive before the internet? I thought as there was a knock on the door. Open it, gringo, I have your food. Did you get the tacos pastor? I inquired. No, I could only find fish. The hard shells tacos? No, soft, but they're good, and I ate some myself, said Gustavo, the bodyguard. I sat down with Gustavo, one of my tattooed bodyguards, as I said. And once you get to know these cartel boys, they aren't so bad and quite friendly, despite the bad rap they get. And probably, having killed perhaps a couple dozen enemies, that's the average I hear for a low-level cartel guy. You got to get 2 dozen. And it's like donuts. And a few innocent bystanders. Oh, those are the people. You're in the wrong place at the wrong time. Do not be in the wrong place at the wrong time. I hope I'm in the wrong place at the right time here. But never without a question, I tried to strike up a dinner conversation as Gustavo was going through the TV channels. That looks good. Stop it there, I said. No way, Anthony. As we now... We're on a first-name basis, I guess. These criminal shows are too violent for me. Let's watch a romantic comedy or something with no blood. Hey, go figure. TV too violent for Gustavo? But kill 2 million people in real life. That's okay. But who am I to question? I was just a hostage, and Gustavo had a large family to feed. We settled on a rerun of Seinfeld with Spanish subtitles. Gustavo laughing his head off, and me going along with it, even though it was the 100th time I saw that episode with Kramer. Remember, in the shower, washing lettuce before dinner to save time? I think I will take a walk before bed, I told Gustavo. You can't go out. Why? When you were sleeping, Mr. Anthony, last night we poked you a little with a test, and you have the COVID virus. What? I have what? Don't worry. We all have it. The boss has it. The whole world has it. So I asked, if everybody has it, why can't I go out? I inquired rather forcefully, thinking, what stupidity is going on in this world? You got me, Anthony, said Gustavo. I just follow orders. Everybody in the whole world just follows orders. Look at what's going on. You know, he was pretty smart, said Gustavo as he left the hotel, adding, the big boss will have all the answers for you tomorrow. So the plan was set. I talked to the boss tomorrow, see Slats Grobnik, give him the box, and go back to Mexico. To do what? I thought. Sit at home for another 30 days? While the world goes to hell in a handbasket, depression comes with the rest of the world going stir-crazy at home. I better stay home. What about the revolution? This would surely end the lockdown, I thought. How many millions of people have responded to Grobnik's call to arms? Give me baseball or give me death. Surely there had to be millions. You know, as I pondered life in the new Vatican Jesuit-led COVID world, I couldn't sleep. No, couldn't sleep, and started looking at this Illuminati card game they gave me on the airplane. I heard about it, but never played it. Given to me on this private jet. There was an article in the game box with pictures. That's strange. It was put there. I guess they want me to read it. It said this COVID quarantine and lockdown was predicted in 1982. See? I told you they think in advance. There was a note written on the article saying, and I know you'll all want to hear this, but I better check the time. I got 4 minutes, so we can do it. Hurry, Greg, or you'll get your fingers cut off. You got to read this whole article for them. It said, the note on the article saying this, Mr. Anthony, you are instructed to reprint this story. The writer's name is blackened out as we have her in custody like you. Every one of you dissidents who disagrees with the government story on the COVID virus will be silenced one way or the other. Sounds like Nazi Germany. Let people know that any further dissident information will be dealt with harshly. Signed, the COVID-19 pandemic boss. Oh, God. Well, at least they admitted it, and you have to applaud this transparency finally. So here's this Illuminati card game story nobody's ever going to discuss again for fear of getting their fingers cut off. Illuminati card game prophesies to quarantine by COVID-19. This controversial card game also prophesies the attack on the Twin Towers and the election of Donald Trump in the United States. I told you. The paranoia and fear generated by the global coronavirus has led believers in conspiracy theory, I don't call it a conspiracy theory, to do a little more research on COVID-19. And it seems that a prophecy related to SIPA has already been found. Illuminati is a science fiction card game. It's not science fiction. I think it's real. Created by Steve Jackson in the year 1982. The controversial game brings together players who are part of secret societies such as, so here we go. I could go on for hours with this, such as the Illuminati output in the Vatican Jesuit-led New World Order, the Society of Discord, the Gnomes of Zurich. It goes on and on. This is the most. She's been kidnapped like me. I don't know where though. The most interesting thing she says about this game is that some cards show world events that decades later would occur, such as Trump's victory in the United States, the terrorist attacks of September 11th. In addition to the attack on the Washington Pentagon, to make matters worse, a pandemic was also prophesied that would cause the world to be placed in a global quarantine. Sound familiar? See, I told you they communicate like this. They know what's going on. That's what makes this thing so fascinating. And our director at Georgetown, Director Luigi Franconi, Jesuit priest, he knows about it too. So they all do over there. But anyway, the creator of the game, Steve Jackson, was believed to have had access to confidential information that exposed the Machiavellian plans of the United States government. They do not mention the Jesuits. I have to bring that in. I hope I don't get one finger cut off for that. I'll just pretend it was in my story. Government into the future, and thus created the Control board game. My thinking is that they wanted this out there because then they can go, look at these people. They believe anything. But they have to communicate, folks. Yes, you probably wonder why. And, back before this COVID virus thing came, I really did do a really good show, and there's other people that have done this story about where all this evil comes from. And it's really interesting what they believe, because it's not important what you believe. It's important to know what they believe. And when you know what they believe, you realize they're out of their minds. But anyway, they're getting away with it. So listen, follow my stories, The Quest for the Second American Revolution, Part 4. I've written 3 of these. As I'm waiting patiently in this hotel, waiting for the instructions of the supreme COVID boss. Remember my little logo, promo, at the beginning of the show, saying the Jesuit commandos are watching you? Well, that's it. I knew it. And anyway, and I'm waiting with that lockbox to give it to Slats Grobnik, and I know that this American Revolution's going to get underway. But there are 2 questions here I have. How can we amass another revolution? What kind will it be? And secondly, how can we do this when we can't even get people to come outside? What kind of revolution is this going to be? Are we up for it? That's my question. And please, will you start the baseball season? That's my only wish. Hey, listen, back after the weekend, I'll fill you in on everything. Hopefully, I'll still be here to talk to you. Have a good weekend. Say you love your loved ones, and I'll see you later on the Investigatore Giornale.
The book of Revelation says, the spirit of prophecy is the testimony of Jesus Christ. This is at the very heart of FirstAmendmentRadio.com. In that spirit, we have created the Prophecy Reality News app for all of your mobile devices, streaming First Amendment Radio 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Available for your Apple, Android device, and smartphone, absolutely free. Get the Prophecy Reality News app installed today so you can listen to First Amendment Radio wherever you are. The Prophecy.
Since the beginning of time, kings have sought it, nations have fought for it. It has been traded, it has been borrowed, it has been purchased, it has been stolen. There's a reason for it. To secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and to our posterity. Invest with the security of gold and silver. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188 or visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net. Listen to Financial Survival with your host Melody Cedarstrom right here on FirstAmendmentRadio.com at 4 p.m. Eastern or 1 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net or call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free 1-800-375-4188.